one of the things that the left is going to say, and they're already saying now, is that this ruling plus there were several, we've had a pretty good Supreme Court term overall with some of the major cases. They're going to say that the court shouldn't be ideological. It should be non-political, and conservatives just won on multiple big issues. Therefore, the court is ideological, it's political, and therefore illegitimate. What's your response to that?
Well, I mean, people who are giving that line just don't know what they're talking about. I'm not really sure how else to say it. They're not paying attention to the actual facts. They're not paying attention to the actual decisions. I wrote a piece earlier this week for Newsweek kind of debunking this narrative. If you look at the actual number of 6-3 quote unquote ideological decisions, which basically means the justices who were nominated by Republican presidents were in the majority and the justices nominated by Democratic presidents were in the dissent, it was actually far fewer of those style of cases than just the last term, than just last year. There really were not that many 6-3 ideological opinions. It just so happens that we got 3 high-profile 6-3 ideological opinions in the term's final 2 days. And what I also find interesting is it's the 3 more moderate Republican nominated justices. So that would be Chief Justice Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, who were in the majority most often this term. But do you know, Brandon, or I should ask the audience, who were the 2 justices who actually found themselves in the majority least often this past term? That would be the 2 most conservative justices on the court, Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas. They actually were dissenting more often than any other justice. And, if you take a broader view of some of the other opinions that people have stopped talking about, there were these 2 major redistricting cases. There was one out of Alabama. There was one out of North Carolina. That was the Milligan case out of Alabama, and Moore versus Harper out of North Carolina. Roberts and Kavanaugh joined, and actually more than just Roberts and Kavanaugh joined the Moore versus Harper case, but at least those 2 justices joined the liberals in both of those cases, really in very kind of a fairly partisan case, actually. Those 2 cases will directly redound to Democratic partisan interests as far as getting more congressmen in the U.S. House, census, things like that as well. So again, I don't think these people really know what they're talking about until the final week of the U.S. Supreme Court term. Now, it changed after the final week, but until that week, if I recall correctly, I saw a Politico article on this. Before that, the justice who found herself in the majority most often was Sonia Sotomayor. So again, that changed a little at the end there, but the point is, Sotomayor and Jackson found themselves in the majority right around the middle of the pack as far as who was in the majority most often this past term.